We had to make difficult decisions last year. The public finances were in a total mess when I became Chancellor last summer, and we had to take immediate action to get control and get a grip of the public finances. We have been able to do that. We've returned stability to the economy. In the first quarter,
we're witnessing the most dramatic political collapse in modern British history, and the numbers are absolutely devastating. Right now, as you're watching this video, the UK Labour government is facing a crisis so severe that it's making headlines across the globe. A bombshell new poll has just exposed the brutal truth about what British citizens really think about their government. And trust me, you won't believe these numbers. If you care about the future of Britain, if you're worried about your taxes, your benefits, or your economic security, you need to watch every single second of this video. What's happening right now could change everything for millions of people across the UK. Before we dive into this explosive story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because this is exactly the kind of breaking news that mainstream media won't tell you the full truth about.
I have said that we're going to do things differently. We're going to tell the truth, even when they are hard truths.
Here's the story that's sending shockwaves through Westminster right now. A major polling organisation called More in Common has just released the results of their comprehensive survey of 4,000 British citizens, and the results are absolutely catastrophic for the current Labour government. Picture this: you're Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, sitting in your office at number 11, Downing Street. You've just been handed a document that contains some of the most damning public opinion numbers ever recorded for a sitting government. Your hands are probably shaking as you read through the devastating statistics. The poll asked British people one simple question: how do you feel about the current government's handling of the economy and public finances? The answer? A resounding vote of no confidence that should terrify every single person in the Labour Party. But here's where it gets even more shocking. This isn't just about disapproval. This is about a complete breakdown of trust between the government and the people they're supposed to serve. We're talking about numbers so bad that they're making political analysts question whether this government can even survive. Let me break down these absolutely devastating numbers for you, and I want you to really think about what each statistic means for your daily life. First, the big picture. Only 30% of British people, that's less than 1 in 3, believe that the Labour government will actually improve public finances. That means 70% of the country has completely lost faith in their government's ability to manage money. Think about that for a moment. 7 out of 10 people in your neighbourhood, your workplace, your community don't trust the government with the nation's finances. But it gets worse. Much worse. When it comes to the spending review, that's the government's plan for how they'll allocate taxpayer money, only 15% of people believe it will actually benefit the citizens of this country. 15%. That's not just a failure, that's a complete rejection of government policy by the vast majority of the population. Now here's something that should absolutely terrify Labour leadership. Only 1/3 of their own voters think the spending review will help people. We're talking about Labour supporters, people who actually voted for this government, and even they don't believe in what their own party is doing. The austerity question is where things get really controversial. Despite Labour MPs repeatedly going on television and radio claiming we're not returning to austerity, 52% of British people believe that's exactly what's happening. More than half the country thinks their government is lying to them about austerity measures. Now we get to the most shocking revelation of all, and this is where the controversy really explodes. 54% of British people believe their government is deliberately targeting vulnerable citizens. Read that again. Deliberately targeting the vulnerable. For a party that built its entire brand on protecting working people and supporting those who need help the most, this is nothing short of a political disaster. More than half the country believes Labour is intentionally going after the most defenseless members of society. Let's talk about what this means in real terms. When people say the government is targeting the vulnerable, they're talking about cuts to disability benefits, restrictions on winter fuel allowances for elderly citizens, and changes to support systems that millions of people depend on to survive. The winter fuel allowance controversy alone has sparked outrage across the country. The poll reveals that an absolute majority of the public believes there should be no income limit for winter fuel allowance eligibility, or if there must be a limit, it should be set at £50,000 per year or higher. But what has the government done? They've imposed much stricter limits, leaving thousands of elderly people facing impossible choices between heating and eating this winter. Here's another bombshell. 67% of British people think the UK is in a bad state overall. We're not talking about specific policies here. We're talking about the fundamental condition of the nation. 2/3 of the population believe their country is heading in the wrong direction. The tax situation reveals even more public anger. Nearly 50% of people would not support tax rises, while only 22% would support them. Yet the government continues to hint at tax increases across multiple sectors. This isn't just a policy disagreement. This is a government that's completely out of touch with what its citizens want and need. Behind the scenes, the situation is even more chaotic than these public numbers suggest. Cabinet infighting has become so severe that it's affecting the government's ability to function effectively. The spending review that's supposed to be announced tomorrow has become a battleground within the Labour Party itself. Different departments are fighting over budget allocations, senior ministers are disagreeing on policy direction, and the lack of unity is visible to everyone watching British politics. The poll numbers reflect this internal chaos. Perceived party unity has declined by 23 points for Labour, compared to only 6 points for the Conservatives. Meanwhile, Reform UK, the upstart political party that's been gaining momentum, has seen their perceived unity increase by 11 points. Even with their own internal disputes and controversies, they're still seen as more unified than the governing Labour Party. The Department of Culture, Media and Sport has been singled out by the public as deserving the biggest spending cuts. This represents a direct challenge to current leadership and suggests that people want to see major restructuring of government priorities. Perhaps most damaging of all, 54% of people say the government is too focused on blaming the Conservative Party for current problems, and 40% of Labour's own voters agree with this criticism. This suggests that the government's strategy of pointing to previous Conservative policies as the source of current issues isn't working with the public. So where does this leave us? We're looking at a government that's facing unprecedented public disapproval, internal divisions, and a complete breakdown of trust with the people they're supposed to serve. The immediate challenge is tomorrow's spending review. With these poll numbers hanging over their heads, Labour leadership knows that every decision they announce will be scrutinised through the lens of public disapproval. They can't afford to make any mistakes, but they're already starting from a position of massive disadvantage. The winter months ahead could be particularly challenging. With the winter fuel allowance controversy still raging and energy costs remaining high, the government will face intense pressure to reverse or modify their policies. But changing course now could be seen as admitting failure, while sticking to their current path could deepen public anger. The political implications are enormous. If these numbers don't improve significantly, Labour could be looking at devastating losses in upcoming local elections. Opposition parties are already using these poll results to call for policy reversals and even question the government's mandate to govern. For ordinary citizens, this political chaos has real-world consequences. Policy uncertainty makes it harder for people to plan their finances, businesses to make investment decisions, and communities to understand what support they can expect from government programs. The international implications shouldn't be ignored either. A government this unpopular and divided struggles to present a strong face to international partners and trading relationships. Economic confidence, both domestic and international, relies heavily on political stability. This is where you come in. Democracy doesn't work when citizens stay silent about government performance. These poll numbers represent the voices of 4,000 British people, but they need to be amplified by millions more. If you're concerned about these developments, you have several options for making your voice heard. Contact your local MP and express your views on current policies. Participate in local political meetings and community discussions. Stay informed about upcoming policy announcements and their potential impact on your life and your community. The winter fuel allowance issue alone affects millions of elderly citizens across the UK. If you know someone who might be affected by these changes, make sure they understand their options and have access to the support they need. For younger viewers, Remember that these political decisions will shape your future for years to come. Economic policies, spending priorities, and tax decisions made today will influence job markets, housing costs, and public services availability for decades. I want to hear from you in the comments below. What do you think about these shocking poll numbers? Are you surprised by the level of public disapproval? Or does this match what you're seeing in your own community? Have you been personally affected by any of the policies we've discussed today? Make sure you're subscribed to this channel and have notifications turned on because political situations like this change rapidly. Tomorrow's spending review could completely alter the landscape we've discussed today, and you'll want to be among the first to know about any major developments. Share this video with friends and family who need to understand what's really happening in British politics right now. The mainstream media often glosses over the deeper implications of these stories, but here we dig into the details that actually matter to your daily life. This is just the beginning of what could be a major political transformation in the UK. Stay informed. If you haven't already, hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon. We're here to expose the truth, hold power to account, and fight for ordinary people. Stay engaged, and remember, your voice matters in shaping the future of this country.